In the cold, vast expanse of deep space, few names were feared as much as Zaral. She was known across the galaxy as the deadliest assassin ever to have lived, her reputation built upon countless missions that left entire civilizations trembling in her wake. Her mastery of stealth, combat, and technology was unparalleled, and her sleek obsidian armor gleamed like the darkest star in the sky, reflecting the terror she had instilled in the hearts of the galaxy's most powerful beings. No contract had ever gone unfulfilled, and no enemy had ever escaped her grasp. Zaral was a living weapon, a ghost in the darkness of space. But there was one race in the galaxy that had shaken her to her core: humanity. Zaral's career had been spent traveling the furthest reaches of the known universe. She had completed assassinations on planets where wars raged between ruthless factions and where entire species fought for dominance. She had crossed paths with aliens who wielded immense power, but none of them had ever given her pause. Her missions were always cold, calculated, and without hesitation. But when the Council of Stars, the most powerful and influential authority in the galaxy, sent her on assignments that involved humanity, Zaral hesitated. It began subtly at first. The first time she was given a contract to eliminate a human, she had felt something strange, an odd sensation that lingered in the back of her mind. It was a feeling she couldn't quite name, and certainly not one she had ever experienced before. She quickly brushed it off as an anomaly, nothing more than a fleeting thought. But as time went on, that feeling began to grow, especially when her targets were human. Each refusal to accept a mission involving Earth was met with increasing frustration from her superior, Valen, the leader of the Council's assassination division. Valen had grown to expect Zaral's flawless efficiency. She was the galaxy's most feared assassin, after all. But each time Earth appeared on her list of targets, Zaral's refusal was absolute. She would bow to no contract that called for the death of humans. No matter the reward, no matter the urgency, she would turn it down. Valen's patience was running thin, and he demanded to know why she refused to follow through on these particular missions. "You are an assassin, Zaral," Valen's voice echoed through the command center, his reptilian eyes narrowing as he leaned forward. His presence was cold, commanding. "Your job is to eliminate. What makes these humans so special?" Zaral remained silent, her face an unreadable mask. Her dark eyes, hidden beneath the shadows of her helmet, betrayed no emotion. She had spent years honing the art of self-control, of shutting out everything except the task at hand. Yet, whenever Earth was involved, she found herself paralyzed by an unexplainable resistance. The thought of assassinating another human filled her with a strange unease, something she had never experienced with any other species. No matter how hard she tried to justify her hesitations, she could not shake the feeling that something deep within her soul was warning her to stay away. Valen's patience had run out. He was a cold-blooded leader, one who had no tolerance for weakness or insubordination. His piercing gaze locked onto Zaral as he demanded an answer. "What is it about humanity that frightens you?" he asked, his voice dangerously low. Zaral's thoughts drifted back to the first time she had encountered a human in person. It had been a mission on the planet Vega Prime. Her target was a human diplomat named Marcus Cole, who had been negotiating a peace treaty between two warring alien species. It should have been an easy job. She would slip in, eliminate the diplomat, and vanish without a trace. But something had gone terribly wrong. She had watched from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Her mind was focused, her pulse steady, but then something unexpected happened. Marcus Cole, a fragile human compared to the mighty alien warriors Zaral had encountered, suddenly turned his head in her direction. She was hidden well, concealed in the darkness, but somehow, he knew she was there. Zaral had never encountered anything like it before. No species had ever been able to detect her presence without the aid of advanced technology. But this human, he didn't flinch, he didn't panic. His eyes met hers with calm resolve, an unwavering certainty that set her on edge. I know you're there, he said softly, his voice carrying across the room. But I don't want to fight. We can talk. Zaral had frozen. The diplomat, who should have been cowering in fear, was not afraid at all. There was no panic in his eyes, no urgency to escape. Instead, there was a quiet strength, a quiet invitation to discuss, to reason. The simplicity of his words unsettled Zaral in a way no weapon or force had ever done before. I don't want to fight, Marcus repeated, his eyes unwavering. We can talk. Zaral had never hesitated in her duties before, but in that moment, she did. For the first time in her career, she found herself questioning everything. She was a hunter, a destroyer of life, and yet here was a human offering peace instead of resistance. Her blade, the very symbol of her strength, felt heavy in her hand as she lowered it. What was this strange feeling inside her? Why was she hesitating? The conversation between Zaral and Marcus lasted for hours. They spoke about many things, about the nature of humanity, about their tenacity and resilience, about their strange ability to survive even the most dire of circumstances. Marcus spoke of humanity's ability to face the impossible and still rise again. He told her that humans had fought countless wars, suffered great losses, and faced overwhelming odds, but they always fought back. They never gave up, no matter the cost. You're all the same, Marcus said, his voice filled with quiet understanding. I've seen you before. You're kind. All of you, hiding in the shadows, taking lives for whoever pays the highest price. But humanity, we fight back. We may be weak, but sometimes we win. Zaral had been stunned by his words. She had always viewed humans as weak, fragile creatures, no match for the advanced species and technology that dominated the galaxy. Yet here was a human diplomat, offering her peace, offering understanding, where others would have drawn weapons and tried to fight back. He wasn't afraid. He didn't run. He simply stood there, waiting for her to make the next move. In that moment, Zaral had lowered her weapon. She had felt an overwhelming sense of confusion. This was a feeling she hadn't known in centuries: uncertainty, doubt. She couldn't bring herself to end his life. She couldn't kill a species that was capable of such strength and resilience. Instead, she found herself talking to him. Something she never did. Something she never allowed herself to do with her targets. It was during that conversation that Marcus had said something that stayed with Zaral long after she had left Vega Prime. I've seen your kind before, he said, his voice filled with quiet wisdom. Not you specifically, but your kind. You're all the same, hiding in the shadows, taking lives for the highest bidder. But humans, we fight back, and sometimes we win. Zaral had left Vega Prime with a new understanding of humanity, something she couldn't explain. She had seen other species crumble under the weight of their own fear, their desperation. But humanity was different. They didn't cower. They didn't break. They fought with everything they had, and they never gave up. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that humans weren't weak. They were perhaps the strongest species in the galaxy, not because of their technology or their armies, but because of their unbreakable will. Zaral began to fear humanity, not in the traditional sense, as she feared the deadly species she had encountered in the past. No, her fear was far more primal. She had seen their potential, their power to overcome insurmountable odds, and that terrified her. Humanity could destroy everything in its path, not through sheer force, but through their adaptability, their persistence, their refusal to be defeated. The Council of Stars continued to send Zaral on missions to eliminate humanity, but each time, she refused. She couldn't bring herself to do it. The humans, with their remarkable spirit, had become a force she couldn't challenge. They were not simply a species to be eradicated. They were a force to be reckoned with. And Zaral knew, deep down, that the day would come when humanity would rise, not as pawns, but as conquerors. They would rise and reshape the galaxy. Zaral's decision was final. She would never go near humanity again. The galaxy's most feared assassin had become a mere spectator to their strength. She watched in silence as humanity fought against impossible odds, defied unbeatable enemies, and survived when all seemed lost. She watched as they built alliances, toppled tyrants, and grew stronger with each passing year. She knew that humanity's future was theirs to shape, and that was something she could never dare to challenge. In the years that followed, Valen's frustration with Zaral grew. He sent other assassins to handle humanity's growing presence in galactic politics, but Zaral refused to take any part in it. She had seen enough. She had seen the power of humanity's will, and she would not stand in their way. Once a destroyer, Zaral had become something else, something far more dangerous. She had become a witness to the rise of humanity, knowing that the day would come when they would no longer be content to live in the shadows of the galaxy's great empires. And that, more than anything, was what terrified her. She wasn't afraid of humans. No, Zaral was afraid of what they would become. Their spirit, their will to survive, was a force that no assassin could kill. And in the back of her mind, Zaral knew that one day, humanity would shape the galaxy in their image, and nothing, not even the deadliest assassin, could stop them.